Now I'll share the screen. Okay, so welcome everybody. Thank you for being here today. Okay, my screen's got a bit weird. Can everyone see the slide? Let me just try that. Okay. I don't know what I've done here. Okay. Okay, can everyone see that?
Much better.
Okay. No, I don't know. Sorry, I've done something on my screen. Okay, let's just go with it. Okay, so welcome everybody. Thank you for being here today. So today's webinar is called From Grieving to Growing, moving forward one step at a time. Okay, so understanding grief. So definition of grief, it's a natural response to loss. It affects everyone differently, reflecting the unique relationship and circumstances involved in it is personal to everyone, as we know. So loss can be loss of a loved one, a job, or health. Anything that has a significant impact on us that we used to have that is no longer there is regarded as loss. And as we know, grief can affect all of us in different ways. And while grief is a universal experience, everyone's journey through it is unique. Okay, and so what are the factors, do we think, that might influence how we cope with grief? So some of them could be individual differences. So we all, as we know, are unique and all different personalities and coping methods. So some of us keep our feelings inside. Some of us like to share how we're feeling. It could be that our life experiences up to this point have shaped how we think about grief. So if we've had grief before in the past, or if this is our first loss, just need to admit someone. Hello, Nancy. Hello, Nancy. Nice to have you here. You haven't missed much. We're just going through the beginning stages. So the different types of loss are sudden and anticipatory grief. Cultural and societal factors could be different cultures could believe in the afterlife and that the soul carries on. Or society might have a view that maybe you grieve for a certain amount of time and then it's like, okay, you've had some time off, all back to work, and they don't really understand the grieving process or how long it works. So who can relate to that? Let me know in the chat, or if you want to unmute yourself. So understanding grief. So the definition of grief, sorry, because my screen's gone strange. So the factors which might influence how we cope with grief. So these could be, as I mentioned before, sudden loss. So with my dad, I was 12, he was 38. So he died in a car crash, so sudden loss. My mum and dad were divorced and he lived in Germany. So it was all very sudden. He died on the 23rd of December. We got the news on the 24th. Christmas Eve, and then the next day was Christmas. So for many years from then, I didn't like Christmas, not unusual. And it's only like in recent years that I can actually look forward to Christmas again. So my sister, so that was sudden as well. I was in Spain on holiday and she had heart failure. She was only 32. So that was a sudden loss. There was nothing to say in health terms that, there's anything wrong. So that was very sudden and a big impact because we used to live together, go to meditation together. Her boyfriend and me all lived in the same house. So that was a huge impact on me. And with the anticipatory loss, that was my brother-in-law, Martin. He died November 22 and he had cancer. So for 3 years, we saw the deterioration of Martin. And, that was very tough to see. for my sister and everyone in the family. So even though, we knew that the outcome, unfortunately, was him going to pass away, it still doesn't make it any easier, I don't think. Let me know if you've experienced a loved one that has died from cancer, then you know what I mean. So the reason that I want to help people, because I feel that, at some stage in our lives, we are all going to go through loss, unfortunately. And I didn't want anybody else to suffer longer than they need to. So that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. I believe that it chooses you, otherwise, well, rather than you choosing it. But I do feel that I don't want anyone to suffer longer than they need to. So that's why I'm doing this work, and I've created courses, and I'm sharing everything that I have, or that I've experienced, and that's helped me to help other people. So I hope I can help. So benefits of the course, you'll be able to find peace again. You'll be able to find purpose in life again, because sometimes we just think, what's it all for? And it's to help people remove that feeling. You'll be able to focus and start making plans again for the future. And you can start to look forward to each day instead of dreading it. And it can help you to smile again. Okay, so you may have heard of the 5 stages of grief. So they are denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. So not everyone will go through the stages of grief. The person, Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, who created the 5 stages of grief, had done it really from people who had a long-term illness, and that's what they find, that they were going through all of these stages, which has then been used now for people who are grieving someone else. So that's why it was created initially. You may not go through any of the stages. You may not go into the order that the stages are there, or you might not experience any of them at all. So we know that grief is a non-linear process, which means, as I've said, you might not go through any of them. A variety of emotions. So really, I think it's important to acknowledge what you're going through. So, whether it's denial or anger, frustration, depression, to kind of acknowledge that you are going through those feelings. Because I find that if you don't kind of acknowledge them, then it's suppressed, and then it comes up like kind of in a worse way than if you'd kind of acknowledge them and say, okay, I'm feeling this now. Any emotion that you're feeling when you're going through grief, you are feeling that emotion. And we shouldn't say, oh, I should be further along by now on my journey or things like that, because there's no timeline in grief. Okay. So some of the emotions we might feel are sadness, guilt, and sometimes even relief. And with that then comes the guilt feeling, because if it's a long-term illness such as cancer or something else, you might feel a certain sense of relief that they are not in suffering, not that they have passed, obviously, but they're not feeling that suffering anymore. But then you might feel guilty that you're feeling that, if that makes sense. Okay. Okay. So what kind of things can we do during grieving? So the first thing that I found that helped me is to establish a routine. So maintaining a daily routine can provide a sense of normalcy and stability during that tumultuous time. Journaling, I love journaling. So after my brother-in-law died, I journaled for a year, just to see the kind of feelings that I was feeling. So write about your feelings. It can be a powerful way to process emotions and reflect on your journey. Because maybe 6 months down the line, you might look back to the beginning and say, oh, there has been some progress, even though it doesn't feel like it at the time that there has been. But you can see kind of where you were then and then where you are now. Physical activity. So regular exercise, such as walking, yoga, or any form of movement, can help alleviate stress and improve your mood. So even if it's walking, going out in nature, doing a bit of gardening, reading, anything, that pumps up, not really, anything that pumps up your endorphin level healthy eating. So we know it's too easy to just either not eat because we don't feel like cooking, or to reach for fast food or anything that's not really good for our body, which is understandable. But you should really nourish your body with balanced meals to maintain your energy levels and your overall health. Sleep routine. So this is really important. Sleep is so important, even if we're not grieving. So prioritize good sleeping habits by creating a calming bedtime routine and ensuring that you get enough rest. So a calming bedtime routine. So it could be, if you've got blackout blinds, that could help, kind of creating a nice peaceful environment, having a bath, but not too hot, listening to some nice soothing music, or reading, anything that kind of puts you in that state. And it's important to not look at any tablets, mobiles, about 3 hours before you go to bed, because all that does is kind of tell your brain that you're kind of in a wake mode rather than a sleeping mode. I know everyone's attached to their mobiles these days. Creative expression. So painting, drawing, crafting, playing music, they can all be therapeutic. Let me find. Hello, Andrew. How are you? Hope you're well. So yeah, painting, drawing, crafting, or playing music. And also nature therapy, spending some time outdoors, whether it's in a park, a garden, or just a quiet place, to rejuvenate your mind and your spirit. I mean, nature is just so beautiful. Also things that you could possibly try, so mindfulness and meditation. So basically mindfulness is just kind of trying to stay in the present, taking care of yourself, okay? Just being mindful of how you're feeling. Meditation, so I meditate every day to stay grounded and develop a sense of inner peace. Or you could use your own coping strategies. So ask yourself what's working for you. So do you like reading a book or listening to music? There is no one size fits all. Even if two people are grieving the same person, we are all different. So one thing that works for one is not necessarily going to work for someone else. And avoid comparisons. So try not to compare your grief to others. I know this sounds strange. So it could be that someone's lost a child, someone's lost a father. And so try not to say, oh, well, my grief is worse than yours because I've lost a child, and that kind of thing. So always remember to be gentle with yourself, have patience and compassion throughout your grieving process. Okay, so what I was saying before, don't think, oh, I should have been further along than this. Why am I still bursting out crying, or I still feel sad? You know, there's no time like, please be kind to yourself and allow yourself to feel everything that you're feeling. Try not to push those uncomfortable feelings away, just sit with them, because in the long run, you will help yourself. You will help yourself, because if we're pushing it down, then it will come out in like a worse way, if that makes sense. Okay. Okay, so finding meaning. So turning grief into purpose. So what does that mean? So it could be volunteering and helping others. So sometimes, we might not feel like we want to connect or talk to anyone or do anything like that. But if we're doing something that's kind of honoring that other person, it could be donating to charity in memory of your loved one. Maybe they liked a charity that was dear to their heart. You could donate to that charity. And also volunteering, you're not putting your grief aside, but if you're doing something for someone else, it gives you a sense of purpose. Okay. All right, we'll get the hammer of this. Okay, so creating new traditions. So honoring the memory of your loved ones. So ask yourself if you want to carry on the traditions that you and your loved one had. So you may have had lots of lovely family traditions, or just personal traditions between you and your loved one. And what did you used to do? Do you want to carry on doing those, or do you want to create new ones? Either one is fine. Do you want to introduce some new routines into your life, or maybe a new hobby that you've been thinking about for a while? So anything that's occupying your mind, okay? And what could you do to find some positive outlets for grief? Speaking to others or joining a group, perhaps? Because I do feel that talking through your grief does help instead of kind of just bottling up inside. Okay. So moving forward, so set yourself small tasks. So they could be just making the bed or doing the washing up or, going out sitting in the garden for a full hour. So they don't have to be massive goals. Anything that you can do that's kind of helping you create a routine and just thinking, okay, I've achieved that today. I've made the bed. It doesn't have to be massive. Okay. So rebuilding your life after grief. So if you wanted to take a class or something that's been interesting you, to stimulate your mind and also to meet others who have the same goal as you, perhaps, or build a memory project. So create something that honors your loved one, like a scrapbook or a memory garden, or you could buy a plant and nurture it. Anything that kind of that's like a positive thing to do. Also plan for the future. So you can also set, when you're ready, this is set long-term goals for personal development or lifestyle changes. So planning ahead can give you a sense of direction for the future, and these can either be short-term or long-term goals. And also engage in community activities. So you could join clubs, organizations, or community events to build new connections and also to stay active and connect with others. Okay. So seeking support. So the role of community and support systems. Maintain social connections, spend time with friends and family. You may not have a large family, but maybe you had a really good friend. Social support is crucial for the healing process. It really is. I remember when my sister died, I've got two other sisters, and I used to go to her house a lot, after my sister passed away, and I know that really helped me. Communication and understanding, so connect with others who've been where you are, can understand where you're coming from. And yeah, so if you'd like to book a call with me, we can discuss how you might like to move forward in your healing journey. So does anyone have any questions or any comments or share now? Any questions or comments? Anyone want to say anything or anything about their own personal journey or what's helped them on their journey so far? In the chat, or you can unmute. Anybody? Someone must have something. Sue, Lorraine, Donna, Marine, Nancy. Anyone like to share? Anyone have any questions about the course? No? Oh, I see. Oh, I see, Sue. Okay. All right. That's fine, Sue. Thank you for your message. All right. So Donna Marie, Lorraine, or Nancy? Any comments? Questions, anybody? How was that for you? Did you find anything helpful in the slides that you might try? No. Did anyone connect? So did anyone, people that are here today, did you all get it from the email or are you in the Facebook group? Okay. All right. So that's email. Okay, thank you, Donna Marie. All right, thank you. Lovely. Does anyone have any comments, questions? No. Okay. All right. So we'll wrap it up today. So thank you very much for your time. I appreciate you logging on today. I hope you found something that's helpful. If anyone wants to connect on a call with me, you can email me. And yeah, so I hope email as well. Lovely. Thanks, Lorraine, for that. Okay, no worries, Sue. That's fine. All right. All right. So thank you everyone for your time today, and sending you lots of love. All right. Thank you, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.